Buying isn't always better, and renting isn't always wasting money. But after 10 years, who really comes out winning? The person who bought a home or the person who's been renting? Today, we're breaking down the real numbers, including closing costs, appreciation, repairs, rent increases, refinancing options, and the harsh truth that most people never talk about. Renting only works if you actually save and invest the money you're saving. And before we dive in, these numbers are just estimates. Every situation is different, but the principle stays the same. Let's start with two people starting today. One buys a house for $450,000 at 10% down payment, which is $45,000 plus $13,500 in closing costs. So right away, they're spending about $58,500 in total to become a homeowner. Their monthly payment with taxes and insurance is averaging out to about $3,300. Now the other person rents a comparable home for $2,600 a month, and they're saving $700 a month compared to the home buyer. Now stay with me. This is where most people get it wrong. If the renter invests the $700 that he saves a month, they can absolutely build wealth. But if they just spend it, that savings is just an illusion. And a harsh truth is coming. And if you rent for 10 years and don't save the difference or invest the difference, the reality is that after 10 years, you end up with nothing. For the rest of this comparison, we're going to use very conservative assumptions. Homes appreciating at 3.5% per year, and rent going up at about 3% yearly, and the homeowner spending about 1% yearly of the property value on maintenance. Again, these are just estimates. Your numbers might be off a little bit, but the logic still holds. Owning a home gives you stability and control. Your payments, they stay predictable, and you gain equity with every payment. And historically, real estate always goes up in value, especially in places like Florida, where the population growth pushes demand. But yes, there are responsibilities. Things like maintenance, repairs, property taxes, upfront fees, and you carry the load. However, homeowners get something that renters never do, and that is leverage. Because at any point, as interest rates drop or your equity keeps growing, you can refinance to lower your payment, shorten the term, or create some cash flow. Buying gives you options, renting doesn't. Renting also gives you some flexibility. You don't handle repairs, you don't have to worry about a roof, insurance, or property taxes. And the upfront cost is lower. First month, last month, and deposit, you're done. And again, renting could be financially savvy, but only if you invest the money that you're saving. But here's the reality that most renters don't want to hear. If you're not disciplined with your money, if your savings disappears every month, and you're actually not investing into something that grows, then you're not choosing flexibility. You're choosing to stay in the same financial place year after year. And even if you just save the difference and don't invest it and just stick it in a normal savings account, getting 1% interest yearly, that $700 a month turns out to be $84,000 in 10 years, and inflation eats that up. That's the harsh truth. Now, let's run the numbers. That $450,000 home turns into a $636,000 home after 10 years. They've also paid down the principal by $88,000, giving them a total equity of about $266,000. And when you subtract the $58,500 they put up front and the $45,000 in maintenance throughout the years, they're still up roughly $162,000 in net wealth. Plus, at any point, they could have refinanced to lower their monthly payment or remove their PMI in order to improve their return. And the renter, if they invested the $700 they were saving monthly at 6% return, by year 10, they would have about $110,000. But once we factor in the gradual rent increases throughout the years, they're really at about $85,000 to $95,000. If they didn't invest it, they're left with nothing. And here's where owning completely separates from renting. After 10 years, the homeowner's property could turn into a cash flow asset. They can move out, rent it out, and rent can cover the mortgage, pay for the property, and put money in their pocket every month. So ownership shifts from being an expense to being an investment that literally pays them every month. Renters simply don't get that opportunity. Your market, your income, your goals, all of that matters, but the principle stays the same. Buying builds forced equity. Renting requires forced discipline. Most people don't lose because they rent. They lose because they rent and don't save and invest. At the 10-year mark, the disciplined renter may have savings. The disciplined homeowner, on the other hand, has equity, leverage, and opportunity to create cash flow. That's the difference between just paying to live and using where you live to create wealth. Should you buy or rent? It all depends on your habits, your discipline, and what your long term plan is. And remember, these numbers are just estimates. Every situation is different, but the financial principle stays the same. If you found this video useful, don't forget to share it with someone that could use this information. Don't forget to like or subscribe so you can stay on top of more insightful videos as they come out. Once again, thank you for watching Francisco's Key Insights. See you next time.